Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing episodes 8, 9, and 10 of the Daleks Masterplan. My first time watching this story. Now, of course, for episode 8, I will talk about each of these per episode as I watch them and edit them all together. So I just finished episode 8. I was, of course, watching a reconstruction. I was actually watching the Loose Cannon 20 reconstruction of episode 8. It really is reminding me of The Chase. I've always heard Daleks Masterplan is a better version of The Chase, less comedic, and I see where it's kind of turning into that. You could even say devolving into that, with the Doctor going from planet to planet being chased by enemies. Now, episode 8 is the first appearance of the monk in this story, of course, returning from the Time Meddler. I knew going into the story that he's in it, but I think he's only in it a little. Like, I swear he's only in like 2 or 3 episodes. I don't think he's in it a lot. I did catch on to that when the Doctor noticed someone was following them, and the Daleks hadn't left in their Dalek ships, their Dalek time traveling machines yet. So I figured it was probably the monk. So when the monk did show up on the volcano planet, I was like, oh, yep, there he is. I always loved Peter Buttersworth in the role, so I really wish this episode survived, because I absolutely love him as the monk. He's so good in The Time Meddler. The Time Meddler is probably my favorite first Doctor story. So I very much enjoyed him back. I like how he tries to turn the tables on the Doctor by trapping the Doctor on the volcano planet, much like the Doctor did to him, trapping him in 1066, but it doesn't work, and the Doctor quickly gets by it, even though that's not explained very well. When he's telling Stephen about the properties of the sun combined with the properties in this ring, and that's all we kind of get of that. It's very much one of those I'll explain later scenarios. At which point, when Stephen's talking to Sarah about the monk, he even says, I'll explain later, and I'm sitting there chuckling to myself about that. I liked it well enough, but yeah, it is. The story's starting to drag a little for me. It's good, but it is getting that going on too long feel. Maybe it's because I'm watching so much of it together. I did watch 7 episodes of it yesterday. It is starting to feel a little long in the tooth. Like there's some padding in there. I'm enjoying the performances. Hartnell's really on his A game in it. I like Sarah. She doesn't really have a lot to do at this point. She asks a lot of questions, probably because she just doesn't understand what's going on. But yeah, that's really about it. So we have the monk still, of course, chasing after the Doctor. The Daleks now finally got their little time travel ship. They're chasing after the Doctor. The Daleks have discovered that the MacGuffin they were given is the fake MacGuffin. Now they need to get the real one. Mavic Chin is kind of sweating bullets. That's kind of where we are with episode 8. So I'm going to go ahead and watch episode 9, and we'll be back to talk about it. So let's talk about episode 9 of the Daleks Masterplan. I am enjoying having the monk thrown into the mix, and him, of course, trying to get revenge on the Doctor. Now they're like in ancient Egypt with the pyramids being built. Like I said, this story's going all over the place. It really is like a more serious, much longer version of The Chase. It is dragging a little long in the tooth, especially with so many episodes being recons, especially since I've gone through 4 episodes in a row of recons. I believe I was watching Josh's this time. It's a good reconstruction. I love the conversation when the monk first sees the Daleks and, of course, says, Daleks! So Mavic Chin's able to realize you're not from this time, and put together that 3 time travelers here at the same time. Possible, but unlikely. And the monk kind of... I love how Peter Buttersworth sells that kind of nervous bit he does there. Ah, yes, And Mavic Chin's like, you need to get us the MacGuffin back. You only have an hour. And he's like, oh, yeah. That whole little conversation there between Mavic Chin, the Daleks, and the monk is... I liked it. It was intimidating, but also very humorous, especially the way Peter Buttersworth was performing it. I'm kind of surprised the monk didn't just leave, though. Like, why didn't he just go to his TARDIS and leave? He could have, yeah, sure, Daleks, I got you. Right back to his TARDIS and gotten out of there. But I guess because he still wants revenge on the Doctor, and he feels like he could turn this to his advantage. I love the Doctor disguising the monk's TARDIS as his TARDIS as a police box. I kind of wonder how the Doctor got in. Doesn't the monk lock his TARDIS? Why would the monk just leave his TARDIS unlocked? So the Doctor could just walk right in. That seems a little silly to me, but I guess he figures since it's a stone block, nobody would find the door. It's a little possibly plot convenient, but I still like it. I love the conversation at the end with the Doctor and the monk, too, when they're talking. And he's like, you know, the Doctor's like, you know, I think I need to put you out of the way here. And the monk's like, put me out of the way. You didn't actually think I was going to help the Daleks. I came to warn you. Oh, to warn. That whole conversation, again, is pretty amusing to me. It seems pretty amusing to the Doctor, too. He seems like he's, you know, kind of laughing about it. I enjoyed that scene, watching the, it's cool seeing Stephen and Sarah get into a cool fight at one point, even if, you know, a reconstruction can only do so much with a battle like that. But it's still cool that you know, they kind of had a little fight scene, and Stephen's like, hey, you're not bad. And she's like, I could teach you a few things sometime. That's pretty neat. And then the scene when the Daleks are killing all of the people indigenous to the time, when they're just throwing harpoons at the Daleks. And I love the fact that the animation of the Daleks really gives this impression of the Daleks are like, spears? Really? Okay. I don't know why, but just one of the Daleks, when he's getting the spears thrown at him, the look on his face, just amused me. I don't know why, but it just amused me. And the Daleks, of course, I'm like, I saw the Daleks, I'm like, whoa, they stand no chance. The Daleks are going to run right through them. And sure enough, the Daleks did. So it actually had some nice humor in it. It also kind of raised the stakes a little bit. And then we had some nice action in it. I really wish this episode existed. I think it'd be a really fun watch if it existed. But it's definitely good to see the story continuing. I'm liking it. It's running a little long in the tooth, but I'm liking it so far. But at least the next episode is a surviving episode. So I can get a little respite from the recons, which is nice. So I'm going to watch the actual surviving episode 10, and then we'll move on to the next review. So, part 10 of the Daleks Masterplan, which of course is the final surviving episode in the story, which I have on the Lost in Time box set, which one of my subscribers was kind enough to send, which I very much appreciate. It was either Lance or Simon. I mix them up sometimes because they both have the same blue icon by their name. But they've both been big supporters of the channel. They've both sent several things, which I'm very appreciative. Simon's also one of my patrons, so I'm very grateful to both of them. But it's neat being able to watch a few episodes from Masterplan, you know, on the TV with surviving footage. I have very much enjoyed that. I liked episode 10 a little more, again, maybe because I was seeing the actual episode. It's nice. I wasn't sure if the monk was in any of the surviving episodes or not, because I thought he was only in 2 or 3 episodes, and it looks like episode 10 might be his final one, the way it ends. I figured that was him wrapped up in the bandages from the cliffhanger of part 9, because it just lines up with the Doctor being like, I have to put you out of the way. Let's not forget, the first Doctor does like to engage in some fisticuffs. And he's pretty good at subduing much younger people when he puts his mind to it, as we've seen in several stories, including the Space Museum. So I get a kick out of the fact that usually happens off screen. I don't know why, but that just amuses me. Although I did love when we actually got to see it in the Romans. So I enjoy that. I love how the monk is so good at not quite switching sides, but he has this kind of silver tongue where he's constantly keeping himself from getting killed. And he's like, of course, Daleks, I led them right to you. Now you have hostages. Well, of course I was lying to the Daleks. You don't think I'd side with it. I love how he's jumping. It's funny. And my understanding is Peter Buttersworth was a comedian, like a comedic actor. That very much comes through in his performance. He was one of my favorite parts of the Time Meddler, which is probably my favorite first Doctor story. So it's nice that I get 3 episodes of him in Daleks Masterplan, one of those a surviving episode, so I actually get to see his performance. It's really, really nice and helped me get more enjoyment out of this episode. I did like, with this episode surviving, seeing the fight scene at the end between the people native to this time, the Egyptians, fighting with the Daleks, getting kind of waxed by the Daleks. But it was nice to be able to actually see that fight scene playing out. That was pretty cool. Watching the Doctor. I like the Doctor's hat in this. The little hat with his cane. I don't know, it just looks sharp on him. I absolutely live for that hat. He is owning that style. I like it. And how he's bargaining with the Daleks for his companion's freedom. That's pretty neat. Because he knows not to trust the Daleks, and the Daleks are, okay, whatever, just give us the stuff. So it's a shame the Doctor actually had to give it to Madison. I didn't realize Madison played such a big role in this. Like, I knew he was in it, but I didn't realize he was such a main antagonist in it. I mean, he's the main human antagonist here. That part I didn't know. I thought he was just kind of in the story. So that's interesting. And Kevin's doing a wonderful job playing him, I might add. The Dalek voices. I keep forgetting to mention that. I really like the Dalek voices in this. I've really been impressed with them, because the Dalek voices can vary from 62 and 72. They can vary from story to story, but they're really, really good in this one, especially the leader Dalek, the Black Dalek. I really like his. I tend to prefer the higher pitched Dalek voices, and I'm really enjoying those in this. I like the fact that the Doctor managed to take the monk's directional stabilizer. I wonder if that's how he actually has it now, wherever they go places. The fact he can steer the TARDIS more, like when Troughton. Well, no, because he still can't steer it when Troughton has it. I love the fact he took it, though, and once again messed with the monk. So now the monk's TARDIS just wanders around at random, too. And I love that final scene when he's, like, stuck on that ice planet, when he's like, ah! I very much enjoyed that. And it had a nice cliffhanger with the Doctor not sure if his TARDIS could take that new component, since that new component's from a slightly more advanced TARDIS. The monk's TARDIS is a slightly more advanced TARDIS. It's a Mark IV. So I get a kick out of the cliffhanger with him throwing the switch and it, you know, the big flash. It's pretty cool. I like that. I like Sarah a lot. Sarah Kingdom, I'm liking her, which I like Jean Marsh anyway. I've always liked Jean Marsh when I've seen her. She's great in The Crusade. She's great in Battlefield. So I'm enjoying Sarah here too. I mean, I know she dies. I'm guessing in episode 12, but I know she dies. I'm still surprised that Brett died so early. I did not expect Brett to die in, like, I think the end of episode 4. I thought he'd be in the story more. I mean, we basically lost him and got Sarah as a companion. So having the episode, being able to finally get to another surviving episode has really gotten the story back on track for me, because it was quite a bit of a break there between episode 5 and 10, where I was having to deal with recons, where there were no telesnaps. And while I enjoyed the recons, Josh does really good recons. And some of Josh's I've watched, and some of the loose cannon ones I've watched. It's still naturally no substitute for the real thing, if you can have the real thing. But yeah, I like it. I'm curious to see how these last 2 episodes are going to wrap up. We'll be reviewing those soon. So the Daleks Masterplan with the monk back. I want to know what you think of the story up to this point. Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and all the other fun stuff that's down in the description. Links to the Patreon, links to the Amazon wish list, link to the Amazon UK wish list as well, as Amazon UK is its own thing. P.O. boxes down there if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. That's how I got this bad boy right here, which I appreciate. I want to give a shout out to a couple of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons, and a shout out to Simon and Lance as well, because I appreciate everything they've sent. And a shout out to the Flyattractor, who has sent me the novelization, and he also sent the part 2 one. I gotta find it, but I have it, because I'll probably be reading those soon as well. And most importantly, thank you for watching.